distribution is becoming much more global. Taking your content and then delivering it all around the world is becoming a much bigger area of focus for a lot of our customers as those markets continue to grow. But the big challenge that they have are the localization costs. Putting it in language, flagging anything that might be appropriate for the U.S. but not appropriate for some place in South America. So next, I'd like to bring up Veritone and Voice of America around this really interesting workflows that they've been able to automate using machine learning. Again, I think for me the difference is between having a propeller engine and a jet engine. Again, yes, you could do the same things faster, but it's really about doing brand new things that you couldn't do before because now you can do things so much faster. So with that, I'd like to bring up Drew and Jim. Are you? There they are.
Thank you, sir. Is that the clicker?
The clicker?
Okay.
Oh, thanks. Yep. Where do you want to sit?
Well, I'll stand. I'll start.
I'll sit.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for having us. Appreciate you coming out. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the use cases that we see in media and entertainment, specifically with Veritone. Specifically, Jim will go over one of the projects we're working with Voice of America on. But first, I'd like to talk a little bit about Veritone and the background so you have a holistic picture of what we do and how we're solving. You put this down. How we're solving some of the big problems out there using artificial intelligence. The slide you see, there's some background information on our company. Founded in 2014, we're a public company. We've been doing AI for a bit. But here's the exciting thing. AI innovation is probably one of the top 5 innovations of mankind. We've heard it earlier today. It's affecting everything we do. And think about the problems that we're under today, whether it's food, health, cancer. We can't solve these problems alone, and so artificial intelligence is going to be critical for us moving forward. With that being said, our vision at Veritone is to create an AI interconnected planet, an intelligent AI planet. So with that quest, we actually founded the first AI operating system, a cognitive operating system, to help that effort. Offices around the world. I'm based here in New York City. Corporate headquarters are in Orange County, California. So here's the reality. The reality is that 90% of the data, we heard it earlier today, 90% of the data that has been produced in the last 24 months. And it's compounding. It's getting more intense and coming at us faster and faster. 80% of it is locked. We just heard it from Video Fashion. We've heard it everywhere else. This is the difficult. It's hard to make business intelligence decisions, whether it's an archive, monetization, more content curation, when all this data is locked. The 20%, companies like Amazon have done an amazing job, whether it's e-commerce or whether it's targeting for an ad, fantastic. But the 80% is locked and it's very difficult. Hence, we created the first operating system for artificial intelligence to help this. Think of Windows. Not many of us were doing pivot tables or PowerPoint presentations until we had applications built on top of a computational operating system. So think about that. We created the first AI operating system. We have a native suite of applications that sit on top, some of which Voice of America and others, big Fortune 500 companies are taking advantage of, or we allow you to build on top of that stack. Not to get too techie here, but I think it's important to understand a little bit about the stack. And maybe Jim should explain this, but I'm kidding. Just to give you a little bit of an indication of our technology stack, we process, the bottom layer is ingestion. We ingest any form of data, whether it's an archive, whether it's a picture, structured data, unstructured data, a TV stream, a podcast. We process 3.5 million hours of media on a monthly basis. We ingest that, we run it through that second level, which is our cognition level. We have tens of categories and hundreds of engines on the platform today, over 320, and we're analyzing over 10,000. Things like face, logo, object, both wide engines and narrow engines that you can train. Then the key piece is really what's proprietary to us is the next level is conductor. This is the orchestration layer. Think about if we're solving problems in real time very quickly. If it's a sporting event and they're talking about medical terms, that would be another engine. Conductor orchestrates the AI that happens in real time. It picks the secret sauce, the recipe of artificial intelligence. I call Conductor the AI that sits on top of AI. We then store everything in a temporal elastic database, which basically time correlates everything back to the files, and then expose that through API for you, for your systems, such as Voice of America and all their great systems they use, or again, that suite of applications that sit on top. We have our standards, like you know of most application standards. We call them essentials. We have many companies like ESPN using our discovery application or our advertising attribution application, or you can build your own application on top of our stack and take advantage of the artificial intelligence that we're seeing. So in our quest to have this interconnected AI world, we're closing the loops in many different verticals. I happen to run M&E globally for Veritone, but we are also in legal, compliance, federal government. We're solving really hard, challenging problems utilizing our operating system. As an example, state and local law enforcement, we're actually ingesting body cam footage, drone footage, security cam footage. We're correlating that with known offender databases and pictures with one of our applications called Identify, and we're catching bad guys in real time. So it's it's an exciting time to be working in AI these days, and I'd like to turn it over to Jim, who's going to talk a little bit about how Voice of America are utilizing some of our tools to solve some of their challenges.
Got it. Woohoo! Exciting times, right? All right, I got to figure out how to work this because I've never done that before.
The big button.
The big green button. All right, I pushed the big green button. Stay away from the big red button. All right, so who is Voice of America? What is Voice of America? I don't see any hands going up saying that they know what the answer is. So stick with, I'll let you know. Voice of America, we're the largest U.S. international broadcaster. You haven't heard of us because we broadcast internationally. We don't broadcast nationally. We're headquartered in Washington, D.C. You may have heard of us or know us as VOA. But we're Voice of America, and we broadcast to over 100 countries in over 46 languages, and television, radio, digital, social platforms to a weekly audience of over 275 million people. So our purpose, as you can see, wow, maybe that was a big red button. All right. The purpose, as you might be able to see there, is to broadcast accurate, balanced, and comprehensive news and information to our international audience. So, 46, wow, that is small print. 46 languages. What does that mean for everybody? 46 languages. That doesn't mean we just take our English content and translate it into 46 different languages and shoot it around the globe. Actually, it's quite the opposite. We do that to some extent. However, we have 46 different news centers with 46 different languages, with 46 different cultures. So it creates quite a very interesting and complex problem within our organization, as you can imagine, because that's 46 different teams of journalists focused on regional specific places within the world, gathering content, gathering information in order to share it on a global stage. So how do we deal with this problem? What kind of problems could arise from that? Well, there's the sharing of content, right? So when we're sharing content, English, think of it as omnidirectional content paths, right? English is creating content, our central news, and they want to share it with the house. So they're pushing it out to 46 different services. Then maybe something is being drafted in Russian, and the Russian service has found something in Russia of global importance. So they take that and they send it back to English, which then shoots it out to 46 different services. Or maybe that Russian or something that happens in Russia is pertinent to only China. So then it goes over to the Mandarin service. So we have this transcription, this translation, and these problems that occur in a very complex workflow. So looking at that, we thought there's ways to make this a tad bit more efficient. We can make it greater productivity in here, make a better, more efficient work environment by utilizing and injecting artificial intelligence and machine learning into our workflows. Now, here's the human side of that. When you start talking about this in the office, people start getting concerned, right? They start thinking that the robots are going to take their jobs. Just for a management aspect of it, that's not what's happening. And make sure that we're sharing that with when you bring this into your work environment. We're not doing that. Think of it more as augmented intelligence. Machine and man working together. We're providing you with a more robust tool set in order for you to get more efficient and more stuff done, in your work environment. So looking at the overall solution and trying to figure out how Voice of America was going to bring in AI tools to their workflows, we started a bake-off. We brought the best for 6 months. We went with best of breed bake-off, talking to all the major AI platform contenders. We didn't know about Veritone yet. So we had everybody in there, and for 6 months we had this bake-off going on, saying, okay, who's the best one for this language? Who's the best one for this language? Because obviously the work efficiencies and work efficiencies would really take place with transcription and translation for us right off the bat. That's a huge moneymaker, an easy win, right? 6 months we go on, we're searching, finding engines. Okay, this one will work, this one will work, this one will work. Oh, wait, this is going to be a whole bunch of contracts now. Now I have got a whole bunch of contracts between different vendors trying to create this platform. Then, as we were doing this, we stumbled across Veritone. And we were very, very happy that we did, because with their AIware solution, they have over 230 some engines. That means I didn't have to search and find all these engines myself, right? That's a huge boost for us. And we only had one area that we had to operate and work with, instead of multiple different vendors trying to figure this out. So what did we do? So we built a tool called Ipsum. So Ipsum, which you'll see here towards the end, is our transcription and translation tool. It's a web app hosted in Amazon, as a lot of our content is, or a lot of our systems are. And that is used in order to provide, just as it sounds like, transcription and translation for our journalists. So let's talk about the benefits of that. So looking at the overall benefits, I'm not going to do the math for you. I'll let you guys do the math, and you guys can figure this out. But I'm going to break it down and lay out the scenario for you, because remember, 46 language services. We have thousands plus employees. Those are just the employees, not including like stringers and other journalists and other people doing other things, right? With lots of stories occurring in these 46 different regions of the world, being shared across. All right, so let's talk math. I'm going to focus on one small group inside of our Central News English area. So we have 9 employees in there. 9 employees in this group whose sole job is transcription. That's it, right? 9 employees doing transcription. That's not including the other hundreds of journalists that are in that same group that are transcribing their notes, or transcribing speeches, or transcribing things that that are coming in for their television shows, or their articles, or their radio programs. Those 9 people, let's talk 9 people. 9 people, 40 hours a week. That's 360 hours. 360 hours of people doing transcription. So, and let's say they get paid at least, at the minimum, $50 an hour plus, right? So just throwing that out there. So 50 hours an hour at the very bottom, plus 9 people, 40 hours a week. To transcribe one 30-minute speech or one program takes one person about 90 minutes. 90 minutes to transcribe one 30-minute speech. All right, so we built Ipsum, and which is the web app front end that ties into the Veritone AIware. Focus on just talking about English here. We take a 30-minute program and we drop it in, and what happens? We get it transcribed in less than 3 minutes. So I've got one person that's taking 90 minutes. I've got an AI tool that we introduce, takes less than 3 minutes. That's a lot of savings and a lot of time given back to these people. But then let's take this a step further, right? Because we're not just going to transcribe something and release it to the wild, because everything's not 100% all the time. That's where the human factor still comes into play, right? One, I need a human to put the stuff in there. Two, I need a human to do quality assurance and quality control of what is coming out on the outside of it. And then it is, making sure it's distributed in the appropriate path, or is it going to be chopped up and provided to different articles or videos or radio, or right? There's all these other more complex tasks that the robot or the machine can't do yet. But so let's say the quality control takes a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes at the most. So 30-minute program took 3 minutes. Now we have 5 minutes of QA over it. I do get at least a 10-time savings or a 10-time magnitude of efficiency by introducing this solution. So take that thought process. That's the just the transcription. That's not including translation, right? So that's just the transcription portion. And that's one group and multiply that times 46. Because remember, I've got 46 of these. So imagine the cost savings, resource savings, and allocation that can come into play by using this tool throughout the organization. Now, polling the services as well, talking about the translation side, and I won't go into big details on this, but asking about, I was like, how long does it take, generally, for somebody to do translation of a 30-minute program for us? And the answer to that was, it depends. But it depends can be all the way up to, they said, all the way up to possibly 4 hours. Why 4 hours? Because you got to think of the audio quality, right? And these are videos or radio pieces that are being put in, and the audio quality depending on how it comes out. And then you have somebody sitting there listening to it, either transcribing it and then translating it. So it's a very, very taxing process. So this right here is just a obviously very basic and general overview of our workflow. And as you can see, unfortunately, we still have our media asset management system on premises, but we're working on providing that or getting that into a cloud-based solution for those that are truly in the media world and know what I'm talking about. And then, but in our Amazon cloud, we do have our affiliate distribution. We have over 2,200 affiliates over the globe, in which we obviously share content with on quite a regular basis. Our content management system is out there, as well as our OTT distribution solutions. And of course, Ipsum, the tool that I've been talking about. And so general workflow is a journalist or somebody puts data, a video file, an audio file, whatever, into one of these packages or one of these systems. It shoots it over to Veritone AIware, which obviously happens to be in the Amazon cloud as well. Did you want to talk about that, or can I?
No.
Okay. It runs its processes and shoots it back over to us. So the journalist or the person who is entering the information then gets it back and can use it appropriately. So, give you a quick overview on Ipsum. I didn't bring Ipsum with us. It is available on the web. You could easily just pull it up here, but to make life a little bit easier, I'm going to do it via screenshot. This is what it looks like when you log in. So we built this in an agile development process, iteratively and releasing it piece by piece, doing trials, and then obviously we released with the transcription portion first. And I am happy to announce that the translation portion was added yesterday, which I'm very happy about. So that has come to life. However, I won't be able to show you here, but I'll be able to show you where the button is that makes it happen. So anyway, you log in, and then you have this. So there's Ipsum. You have two sections. You have your transcription side, and you have your translation side. And so we're going to talk about the transcription portion. There you can see you can drop files, paste, or browse, or select a file to put in there. Now this takes audio files, it takes video files. It simply strips out the audio portion in order to run the transcription if you're dropping in a video file. You pick your language. If you pick your language, unless we put in for auto detect, and you start your transcription. Here it is. This is what it looks like when you're dropping in a file. Here you can see we're doing some sort of State Department file uploading. Then we run our transcription, and down at the bottom has your job queues. So there you can see we've been listing some job queues, and on here, this top one is a State Department conference call, presidential trip to Hanoi. So there you go. That was what was dropped in, and that's reached the top of the job queue, and then you hit complete, and you get your transcription. And up at the top, you have essentially the WAV file where you can listen to it. So you can click play, and it'll actually play the audio, whether it is a video file or an audio file. It plays the audio for you. And it corresponds with the word, as it is progressing, right? So you get a box around the word, and then you get a white line up in the audio file to show you where it is. Now you can go back and forth. You can click in the wave stream and it'll take you to that word, or you can click on the word and it'll take you to the wave stream. That way you know what it is that you're working with. Because does provide inline editing. So you can edit inside itself to make sure that if something came through jumbled or the word was unreadable, then you can go ahead and fix that. And with that, and also off to the side, you might see there's little humans or little profile pictures off to the side. That's to enter into the speaker in case it's a two-way or multi-way conversation. You can go ahead and identify the speaker, and it's smart enough so that when you identify the speaker the first time, if the person speaks again, it identifies the speaker at a later time. And then so you put in the right people. You can also put comments in here in case there's multiple people working on this. So perhaps maybe Drew starts it off, gets halfway done, says, screw this, I'm out of here, and says, Jim, you got to knock it out. So I go ahead, I hop in, and I finish it. And you can also export it. Now, where our wonderful magic new translation button is on the transcription side is right here. I'll point so that you can see it on camera too. But it's right there. And when you hit translation, then you choose which language. It asks you which language you want to translate it to. You then pick the language, one of our 46, or the ones that we have that are available in there. You click that, and then you receive two panels. Surprisingly, it moves almost in real time. I was blown away yesterday playing with this when they showed it to me. When I clicked translate, it was like less than seconds that I got my translation back. I was completely happy. And then it presents in two panels. So then I have my English version, I have my other language version. They're both editable, inline editing, and the quality control human person can review this and look at, say, okay, this is the English side and this is whatever language, and they are saying the same thing, or I need to edit this so that it does say the right thing, right? And then you hit export, and you can export it in the appropriate language. And that, I believe, is that. So thanks. You want a clicker?
Yeah. I think, so real quick, I think the important piece on the Veritone side is, and thank you for this, he's letting us take care of the data science and the best in breed and single plug and play. And as you can see, his focus is on what they do great, which is content curation, content creation, workflow management, and making their business more efficient, and letting us take care of all the data science and making it best in breed, and letting Conductor give him the best results possible. He doesn't care which artificial engine we run. If you're running 100 different engines, let Conductor take over. If we're solving big problems, we start adding different elements to that. A single human being can't pick the recipe of cognition. So they're allowing AIware to, via Conductor, take all of that away from him and let him focus on his business and what he does best. And I hear that all the time, whether it's iHeartMedia or CBS or ESPN or several companies we do business with. They just want to focus on what they do great, and that's content curation, distribution, monetization, letting us take care of the data science, the artificial intelligence, knowing we're on the tip of the sword. So thanks. It's great doing business with you, and hopefully we help you be more efficient and more resourceful and make more money.
That would be awesome.
Well, thanks for your time. Any questions? I'll just open it up.
We blew
Yes,
them
sir.
all away. Oh, never mind.
What's the pricing model for
So typically it's a SaaS model. It's a monthly access fee. If you're licensing our native applications, we have application license fee. If you're accessing our APIs, there's an API access fee, and then it comes down to how much media do you want to process. It's not as expensive as you might think. We have clients, Westwood One. They process. They have a 1 million hour archive. I heard an archive earlier today. They have 1 million hours of iconic archive. Same problem. A lot of it's sitting on the shelf, and so they literally take, not all 1 million hours, but they want to just bubble up what are the priorities. So they'll process, a certain amount and then continue to add to that. So it's not as expensive as you might think, but it's a monthly SaaS fee. Anybody else? All right. Oh, there we go.
Was there a consideration of tying it into an automation system so you don't have the people requesting the languages?
Oh, you're talking to me. Yes. Yes, actually. In fact, they're still being considered and weighing it right now because, like I said, this thing was just started built, or we just began. It's been being built for maybe 2 months now, maybe a little bit over 3. So it's been coming out piece by piece, and you see what we've got there. And then we might be adding in automatic language detection. In fact, we plan to, or at least having it in the interim. Right now, you can select your language, but in the interim, it defaults to whatever you logged into last. So if I logged in and I had Mandarin and was running Mandarin, the next time I go in, it's going to say Mandarin, right? Or if I say French or whatever. But adding in there's always a cost that comes with that as well, right? Because then you are hitting another engine or the portion to identify which language it is that you're speaking. So got to weigh those. We're still weighing those.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.